It's another lovely morning. We're getting ready to get started. Today's day 25. 25 days ago, I started this challenge. And now, here we are. It's one more day. Excited to be doing this. It's a little warm today, but we're going to get through it just fine. I'll see you guys in a little bit. I hope you're getting ready to go on your challenge right now. Day 25 is done. Man, 25 days. 25 days. I haven't taken a day off. I'm running every morning, and I gotta tell you, man, I feel fantastic. So today I was able to run almost 3 miles, 2.71. So I was just a little shy of the 3 mile mark. And it's only been 25 days, which is crazy to me. Like 25 days ago, I was struggling just to do like the one lap around the thing, like around the mapping that I did, you know? And now I'm like almost at 2 full complete laps of the mapping. And it's only 25 days. And the challenge is for 365 days. So there's a part of me that's like, I am so excited to see where I'm gonna be in 365 days. Like, am I gonna run more than 12 miles? Am I gonna be able to increase more than what I originally wanted to increase? Like, what is that gonna do to my body? Am I gonna be feeling limber? And like, I mean, I am starting to feel so much better, like in my clothes and in the way I feel. Like, I wake up in the morning, I'm not struggling to get up in the morning. My body's hurting a lot less. You know, for a while there I was having back pains and like my hip was hurting and it hurt to walk, and I had a hard time, you know, even just putting my pants on, like putting one leg in at a time and standing on one leg while doing it. And now I like, you know, I'm just getting through the morning rituals really fast. And how exciting is that? I'm super excited. So I wanted to talk to you guys today a little bit about opportunity. You know, I talk a lot about my mom when I'm here, and then sometimes I feel a little weird that I'm sharing so much about my mom on these videos. But the thing is, my mom was pretty wise. She always used to tell me that opportunity was like this thing that, like, it was almost like a gifted wind that just came into your life, and it kept blowing, like it just blew past you. And I never really understood what all that meant when I was a kid. But she used to tell me this all the time. She used to say, opportunity is like a wind. It just kind of blows past you. You know, you have to be ready for it. You have to be ready and willing to go after it and grab it. Like, she used to say that. But I used to think opportunity is like a wind. What? You know, I was a kid. I couldn't put it together. Then in my adult life, I started going to these workshops, you know, and like Tony Robbins and like Christopher Howard and a few other guys, you know, that I've gone to their seminars and things like that, and I've gone to different courses and classes where they talk about opportunity and they talk about opportunity knocks. You have to open the door and embrace it. And then I think it was Dean Graziosi at one point in one of his speeches. He said something about opportunity knocks on your door, and people think you just have to open the door. But the thing is, opportunity does not wait for you to open the door. Opportunity knocks on your door and takes off running, and then you have to actually open the door and chase it. And you have to catch it. You gotta tackle it down. You gotta grab it. You gotta grab hold of it, and you gotta make things happen. Opportunity doesn't wait for you. And for whatever reason, even though I was already an adult, I've always just kind of looked at, you know, opportunities like, hey, you know, something doesn't this. Oh yeah, you know what? We'll see if it comes together. And I just kind of passively have taken advantage of some opportunities. But then I feel like I've missed out on so many opportunities because I've had this mentality of, if it's really my opportunity, it's gonna wait for me. It's gonna be there. Right? If it was really meant to be, you know, you guys hear people say that all the time. If it was really meant to be, it's all gonna come together. I read this prayer once, and it was 2 sets of prints on the sand. And there was a guy who was talking to God, and he was saying, why is it that you walk with me all the time, but when I need you the most, you leave me by myself? You leave me to walk alone. And then it's God responding. And God says, the second set of footprints next to you is me, walking next to you. Those are the good times when we're walking together, and that's true. But when you look back and you see only one set of footprints during your hard times, during your struggles, that single set of footprints belongs to me. During those times, I was carrying you. Whether you believe in Krishna, Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit, the universe as a superior power or superior law, superior being, whatever you believe in, think about that. Think about that prayer, because it's so profound. I think to me it's always kind of hit me whenever I'm struggling through something. I think about that passage, and I think, wow, that's, times have been really hard, but I'm getting through it because He's carrying me right now. And my faith is just that no matter what happens, it's gonna come together because God is with me. But obviously, whatever that superior energy source that whatever that source is to you, right? It might be different than mine. Whatever that energy source is to you, I want you to think about this. What if the energy source brings opportunity and it knocks on your door? And you're like, okay, it was meant to be. If it was meant to be, it'll come together. And then the energy source is like, wow, I put all this energy to get opportunity to come to this person. And they're just kind of like, whatever, the universe will make it happen. Or, well, if it was meant to be, God's going to make it happen. And there's a passage on the Bible where God tells he tells somebody, I don't remember exactly because I don't memorize the Bible. I just know passages from it. I don't sit there and read it daily and memorize every single word and tell you, verse 26 of blah, blah, blah book. But there's a passage in there where he says, help yourself and I will help you. Help yourself and I will help you. And I always thought to myself, well, you got to kind of do things yourself, and then He's going to help you open the doors that are tough to open. You got to push, and then He'll help you open the doors, right? But for whatever reason, when it came to opportunity, I've always just thought opportunities, if it's meant to be, it's going to happen. You hear people talk about it all the time. They say this so much that you absorb it. It becomes this mental programming. And in my adult life, now I'm having to relearn that, you know what? My mom was correct. If it's meant to be, it's not just gonna happen. If it's meant to be, you gotta chase that bitch down. And you gotta grab it by the throat and tackle it. And you gotta, how they do it in the rodeos where they tackle the little calf and they tie the legs and they take the little calf. Okay, that's what you gotta do to opportunity. Opportunity doesn't sit there and wait. Opportunity doesn't come and knock on your door and tell you that today you have an opportunity to do something and it's gonna hang out for the next 6 months for you to take care of it. So you have to deal with it right then and then. It has to become your priority. In order for you to succeed at something, you have got to become obsessed. I talk a lot about when I was DJing, and when I was DJing, I was obsessed. There was a level of obsession. I couldn't wait to get home, to get on my DJ tables and spend 2 hours mixing the same records over and over and again. As I started to feel more comfortable with, beat matching and finding my keys and this and that and the other, I started to maybe just mix more music, but I was still obsessed. And then it became about growing my collection of records, expanding the music that I was mixing. It became about me obsessing about how to control the crowd when I was playing somewhere. What kind of music was I gonna play? How was I gonna control the crowd? How was I gonna bring the energy up? How was I gonna bring the energy down? I was obsessed. And if you told me today to come and DJ one of your parties, I can tell you right now that I would become obsessed for like the next couple of weeks or the next couple of days or the next couple of 6 months, whatever length of time I have to prep between now and your event. I would become obsessed I would practice hours and, endless, and I would become obsessed about how I'm gonna do this and what I'm gonna do and how I'm gonna control the crowd and what music I'm gonna play and then have a huge collection of records and tracks that I'm gonna take with me, and then I would go ahead and kind of like build a set based on what the energy that's in the room and everything else while I'm playing. But I would have kind of like this pre-selection range of music that I can choose from so that I can manipulate the energy in the room. That's kind of like obsessive, right? But that's the thing. So I have friends who ask me questions, and okay, so in particular, I have a few friends who have businesses, and they're in the servicing customers directly business, right? So, one of them is a tax person, and the other one is they do financial stuff. I don't know, to what degree or whatever. They're a financial planner or whatever. And the other one is a CPA. She does like bookkeeping and stuff. And it's kind of interesting to me, the financial planner, his business has ebbs and flows. And he always asks me for advice. He's always asking me like, in my, kind of like my opinion about marketing or how to get more clients or how to get consistency in clients and things like that. And I share my thoughts, based on the things that he tells me. A lot of times I just ask a lot of questions and he answers his own questions, which is kind of what I think is the best way to actually help somebody, is just ask the questions that they're not finding on their own, so that they can answer them themselves. That way they found the answer, not you. That's not you telling them what to do, that's them figuring out what they need to do. And so, he struggles with that, right? Now, my tax guy, my friend who does taxes, he is aggressive. During tax season, he has ads everywhere. He's got a direct mail campaigns that are going out. He's got this like aggressive digital appointment booking system that people just go online and book their appointments with him. And he just cranks taxes. I mean, he is book solid for months, and he just cranks a ton of work during tax season. And during off season, like most tax people, they work 3 months or whatever, and then after April they're like, okay, I'm gonna spend the rest of the year doing something else, and they just kind of like take a vacation or whatever it is. Now my buddy, he always takes a short vacation. He takes about 2 weeks and he does something right after tax season, right? He just goes and clears his mind for a couple of weeks. He's been working really long hours for the last 3 months, so he takes a little bit of a break, but then he comes back and then he has another aggressive campaign, and he starts campaigning for different types of tax business, whether it's business owners who file quarterly, or whether it's business owners who want to have a second opinion of reviewing their just filed taxes, so the last 3 years in taxes, so to make sure that they didn't miss anything, whoever did their taxes didn't miss anything. And then he has this other aggressive campaign that if you did your taxes by yourself, he's willing to review your taxes at no cost to make sure you didn't miss anything. And if he doesn't make any changes, he doesn't charge you anything. He just tells you that you did a great job. which is actually kind of how we met. So he's one tax person that I know that has a solid book throughout the entire tax year. There is, with the exception of the times that he goes on vacation, he doesn't have downtime. He doesn't have downtime. He actually teaches business tax courses for people that are independent business owners. And you can sign up for some of his classes, and you can go out there and you can just learn things that you should be learning so that you know how to better prepare yourself when you go to file your business taxes. So he has these courses and he teaches that, and he's got courses online, and his tax profession is built around many different things. It's not just tax preparation. And my CPA friend, not as aggressive, but she also does an ongoing 365-day marketing campaign for her services as a CPA. And her business is growing. Not as aggressive as my tax guy friend, but more aggressive than my financial planner friend. And recently I had a conversation with this financial planner friend of mine, and I asked him, what was his process? And he said, well, sometimes I sit with a person and I to understand that what their finances, how their finances are looking, and then I do an analysis, and then I collect that information, and then I schedule a meeting with them a week later, and usually about 3 days before the meeting I work on their plan, and I put together a proposal of how we can get them to their financial goal. And it hit me. I thought, well, you get paid if the client leverages your services, if they actually sign up for something. And he said yes. And I said, well, why wouldn't you aggressively work on the minute you collect the information, why wouldn't you right away get with your team? He's got a couple of people that work with him. And I was like, why wouldn't you go right away, sit with your team, start crunching numbers? That way you have more time, so that when you do present a proposal, the proposal is that more dynamic instead of doing it at the last minute. And he said, well, I meet with several clients, and so they kind of build up. And so I just dedicate the last 2 or 3 days of each week, I dedicate to working on all the plans. And now I'm thinking, well, that means that your time is even more diluted, because now you're not just working on one plan, you're working on, let's say, 8 or 10 different plans, and you're doing it all in 3 days. And maybe if you would have just, instead of giving them a week to come back, maybe you would have had them come back the next day, and you worked on their plan that night, and you just knocked it all out, or maybe 2 days later, then your follow through would be a lot better. Your chances of keeping them as a client would be a lot better, because one of the challenges that he has faced is that he'll set up the appointment, but then by the time that the appointment rolls a week later, then the person reschedules, and then before you know it, it's like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and then before you know it, something came up, we can't really do it at this moment, and then he loses the potential of the client, because the client never even reviewed the plan that he put together. That was one of the things that he had shared with me. And I started thinking about this whole opportunity thing this morning, and I thought to myself, the opportunity's coming to him, he's just not chasing it. He's having opportunities, his marketing's working, they're knocking on his door, but he's just not chasing the opportunity once it knocks on the door. And it's a conversation that I plan on having the next time I see him, but I wanted to just kind of share that because it was kind of enlightening to me that, somebody, and he's pretty successful guy. He's got a really great practice. He does a lot of really good things, and he's been around for a long time and working in that arena for a long time, and he's worked for some major companies. But for some reason, like, I don't know, and I could be off base, but I feel like maybe that's part of where his challenge lies. And I had this epiphany today that maybe when we think about opportunity, we think of it like, oh, if it's meant to be. Well, you know what? Nothing is meant to be. If you want it, you gotta grab it. You gotta chase it. You gotta tackle it down. You gotta bring it back home. When you catch it down the street, you gotta drag it back to your house. Opportunity is like a wind. It comes and knocks on your door and it keeps going. It doesn't stop to wait for nobody. And the other thing I wanted to share with you is that every single day you have an opportunity. Every single day that you wake up breathing, you have an opportunity to do something good for yourself. Every single day that you wake up breathing, you have an opportunity to do something good for the people around you. Every single day that you wake up and you wake up breathing, you have an opportunity. That's what life is about. Every day that you're alive is an opportunity for you to contribute to the greater good, to do something good in the world, to give good advice, to share a smile with somebody so you can make their day, to pay a compliment, to make a new friendship, to give somebody a ride, to call somebody and just tell them that you were thinking about them. Every day is an opportunity. Don't let the day come like the wind and pass without you taking advantage of it. Day 25 is down, 365 days. That was the challenge. I'm 25 days in. So, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me this morning or this afternoon, whatever time it is when you're watching this video. Thank you for following. If you like these videos and you like my thoughts, hit the subscribe button and follow my challenge for 365 days. It is 365 days of transformation, running every single day without taking a day off. That's the challenge. I added the increasing distance, but nonetheless, thank you and have a great day. Take care.